Mataji, shall I start?
Yeah, please start.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamen Iti Namine वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधा कान्ता नमोऽस्तुते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे।
Hare Krishna. So, do you remember where we are? Or you also forgot like me? Where are we?
13th chapter.
Huh?
Mataji, 13th chapter.
Harshit has a doubt. Rohan, do you remember where we are?
Mataji, you have not attended last class, Mataji.
And so you have, Hare Krishna. You have not answered the quiz also? Okay, you answer at least today. Tonight I am closing it. Okay?
Okay, Mataji.
Jitesh, where are we?
I think
Huh?
I think in 13.
Mataji,
I hear you.
I think
13th. Till which sloka did we go, Harshit?
Mataji, I don't know, but I think it is in 30s. Like, I don't know correctly, but it is in 30.
Total, there are 34 slokas in chapter 13. So we have completed till 12th. Okay, right? No. Okay. So at least for now, let us be regular and complete the total thing fast. Okay? Right. Hare Krishna. So, let me join. So we have completed up to 12. Okay. So in this chapter, now that I'm sure that all of you forgot everything, but this chapter started with Arjuna asking questions to Krishna with 6 questions. The questions are, what is Prakriti? That is, what is the material nature? And who is Purusha? That means who is the enjoyer? And that is the supreme God, we all know. And the Kshetra, that is the field of material nature. And the Kshetrajna, who is the person who knows about the field of material nature. And he asked about Jnanam, that is knowledge, Geyam, that is the object of the knowledge, the knowable things. So Arjuna asked about all these things. So in general, Krishna explained about Prakriti. You all know what is Prakriti, the material nature. And then Purusha. Who is the Purusha? Krishna is the only enjoyer, and that is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Kshetra, that is the field of material nature. That means where all these activities happen is the field of material nature. That's our human body. And Kshetrajna, the person who knows about this material body, all these things. And so finally, in from 8th to 12th slokas, he describes about the jnana. That is knowledge. What is knowledge? We all think that knowledge means going to YouTube, learning all things, knowing about the world, and then knowing who stands first, who is winning, who is the prime minister, who is the chief minister, all these things. We think that this is the actual knowledge. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave a different answer for this. What he says is, this is what Krishna told about the jnanam. Jnanam, what is jnanam? This is the humility, that means being obedient, pridelessness, never be proud that I know this, I can do this. Because the moment if we know something, that is Krishna's blessings. That means the Krishna has given the memory. If we do something, that is Krishna's blessing. The moment Krishna says no, the Wi-Fi will go and our class will get cut. Or I'll get a stroke and then my mouth will get shut. Anything can happen. So that pride we should not have, that I am doing it. Non-violence, never hurt anybody. And then tolerance, whatever bad that is happening around us, don't revolt immediately. You should know how to handle it. Simplicity, be simple. That is one thing. Approach a bona fide spiritual master. Never think that by reading Bhagavad Gita myself, I understand everything. See, the way you take a textbook and study in the class, will you understand everything? No. Only when you go to the school, your teacher explains, then you will understand. Similarly, spiritual knowledge also, a bona fide teacher should explain. Cleanliness, here cleanliness means not physical but mental also. Don't think about anything bad. Don't think about anything negative. Steadiness. Steadiness means don't keep on getting tempted. You want to study. You want to study. So you do that. You have to be firm on your that is steadiness. Self-control is also something like that only. Renunciation of objects of sense gratification. That means where we are getting spoiled is just sense gratification. Whatever is giving happiness for our senses, that is for our eyes, ear, nose, tongue, all those things we get tempted. We have to leave all that. We should have happiness, enjoyment, but we should not live for that. Absence of false ego. This false ego is word very important. One should have a ego. Ego is very important. That ego is that Krishna is the Supreme Lord and we are his subordinates is the ego. False ego means thinking that I am independent. I want to be away from Krishna is the false ego. Absent that we should not have. The perception of evil of both birth, death, old age and disease, all that we should not have. Detachment, then we should get detached with all the unnecessary things. Freedom from entanglement with children, wife, home, rest. We should be responsible in all these things. It is not that we have to leave our parents or leave our children. We should be attached to them, but we should know where to stop what. We should not do wrong things for these attachments. Okay? Even mindedness amidst pleasant and unpleasant events. That means we have to be very stable when something very pleasant is having or very unpleasant is having. We should know how to be stable. Constant and unalloyed devotion to me. With all this, we should have always unalloyed, no disturbance of devotion onto Krishna. That is the most important thing. Aspiring to live in solitary place. We should always try to live in a spiritual, good solitary place. Detachment from the general mass of people. See, we have a saying in English, tell me who your friends are, I'll tell you who you are. So we normally go and get attached with the people with whom our mindset matches. So here we should be very careful. If we start mingling with people with a different mindset, then what happens is their thoughts will influence us. So we should not go and mingle with those people. We should mingle with the kind of people, what kind of life we want to lead. We should be clear, and we should mingle with the people who are leading that kind of a life. That means if we want to get attached to Krishna, we should go and make friendship with people who are making friendship with, who are in devotional service. Accepting the importance of self-realization. We should know how important it is to realize ourselves, and philosophical search for the absolute truth. We should know what is the absolute truth. All these I declare to be the knowledge. So Krishna says this is what is called as knowledge. And besides this, Krishna says, besides this, whatever there may be, and other than this, anything we learn, he says, is ignorance. That means if you think I know all that, it's all waste. It is all ignorance. That's what Krishna says. Okay, so we'll go to the next. Now we'll get into our today's session. Okay, so, Sloka 13. Who will read Sloka 13? Only 3 of you are there. So one after 4 of you are there. Harshit, Jitesh. Okay, read. Whoever is reading. Jitesh. Oh, yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, read. Neyam
Tat
yat kshami. Yeah, read.
Pravakyaksam
Yajñatva mrgama.
Yajnat Asnute Anadhi Mat Param Brahma Nasad Tan Nasad Ukyate. Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, the meaning. I shall now explain the knowable, knowing which you will is the eternal Brahman, the spirit, beginningless and but yet to me lies behind the cause and effect of this material world.
Yeah. Till now, first 4 questions are answered. Now, from 13 to 19 sloka, Krishna will answer the next 3 questions. Kshetram, Kshetrajna, and Kshetram, he has answered, Jnanam, he is answering. Okay. So, now we are going to learn about the object of knowledge and knowable. That means what is the purpose of getting this knowledge and who is the knowable person is what we are going to understand now. So here Krishna says, I shall now explain the knowable, unto whom we should know, knowing which you will taste the eternal. By knowing what you're going to get the eternal, taste the eternal. Brahman, the spirit, beginningless. The spirit is the beginningless and subordinate to me, lies beyond the cause and effect of his material world. The Brahman, the spirit, that means the spirit soul, which is beyond this material world. This material, because why it is beyond the material world? Because the material world is temporary, whereas the spirit soul is permanent. This material world, as you all know, is created for us because when we were with Krishna, we had our desires of enjoying. So because we wanted to enjoy, Krishna has created this material world. That means we are first and the material world is second. But we think we are temporary, we are going, this material world is always here. No, we are only taking different kinds of births. So, this is what we are going to learn. So we are going to learn about the Jivatma and the Paramatma. Who is Paramatma? The Jivatma is also an expansion of Krishna. So the spirit soul, so we are going to learn about the Jivatma and the Paramatma. Yeah. Next, Rohan, read. 14.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Just 1 second, Mataji. Sarvata Panipadam. Sarvataha Panipadam. Tat Sarvato Shisiro Mukham. Sarvataha Shrutimaloke. Sarvamavrutyatishthati. Hare Krishna Mataji, translation Mataji. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes and head and faces, and he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Everywhere his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces, and he has ears everywhere. Who is that he? Lord Krishna, the super soul. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. We learned about this in the previous chapter where we talked about the Visvarupa. That means he is everywhere and everywhere. There is nothing, there is no place where he is not there. And again, we should not forget that he is not in Goloka. He is in Goloka, he is everywhere, and he is in everybody. So this way we should understand. So now this is chapter 14. So there's no place where Krishna cannot go or cannot do or cannot see. Unlike Krishna, we are not everywhere. We are also souls, but we are just in one body, and we think we know everything that is happening with us, but we don't even know what is happening inside our body. We don't know that next minute we are going to die. We don't know that next minute we are going to get a heart attack. We don't know that next minute I'm going to get a cervical. Now we don't know anything about the body, but Krishna knows everything. And not just about us, he knows about everybody and anybody and everything about everybody. His energies are everywhere, in every heart. But it is not that he is there, everybody means he is not into pieces. He is not pieces. He is in everybody, but he is only one lot. You cannot say that because there are so many Krishnas. No, Krishna is only one. So this is very complicated to understand. Only a person who has got faith on Krishna's greatness can understand this. Otherwise, it's impossible because it sounds very illogical. But only when we understand the greatness, then we will be able to believe all this. So this is what Hiranyakasipu argued with Prahlada, saying, is he everywhere? Then Prahlada said, yes. Then is he in the pillar? Yes. Then when the Hiranyakasipu broke the pillar, he was there. So that way he is there everywhere, and he is there as a supreme also. 15. Pushkar, will you read? Hare Krishna, Pushkar. Harshit? Are both of you not there? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Sarvendriya Gunabhasam Sarvendriya Vivarjitam Asaktam Sarva Bhrachaiva Nirgunam Guna Bhoktir Cha.
Yeah.
Translation: The super soul is the original source of all senses, yet he is without senses. He is unattached, although he is the maintainer of all beings. He transcends the modes of nature, and at the same time, he is the master of all modes of the material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The super soul is the original source of all the senses. So again, we say that he is the origin. So he is the original of all the senses. Yet he is without any senses. That means this is what is something we have to understand very carefully. That means doesn't he eat? That doesn't he? Can't he see? Can't he touch? Can't he feel? Is not what we have to understand here. He is unattached to the senses. We are all attached to the senses. That is where we are attached to this material world. But he is the master of all the senses. But he is not attached to the senses. That is what we have to be very clear. He is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all the living beings, he transcends the modes of nature. And at the same time, he is the master of all the modes of material nature. He being the controller and master of all the material nature, he doesn't get attached to it. He is the creator, he is the, but he doesn't have any attachment. Like whatever little we put a cover to the book, notebook today. We get so much attached to the cover. Arey, so beautiful. But in spite of creating such a beautiful thing, he does not get attached. Like the food, whatever our mother cooks and serves to you, only if it is tasty, you will eat. Otherwise, you will simply say, Amma, today the food is not at all tasty. I don't want to eat. You are going to tell that bluntly and you will refuse to eat. But the difference between ourselves and Krishna is, if one serves the food to him with love, he will love the food. He doesn't taste the food. He will only taste the love behind serving the food. Like many examples, many times we discussed. So what is important to him is the love with which we are serving the food, not the taste of the food. Okay. 16. Pushkar, are you there? Okay, Rohan, read. Yeah, Rohan.
Hare Krishna Mataji, he just now went bathroom Mataji. Next time he read Mataji.
Okay. Harshit, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Bahirantascha bhutanam acharam chara evacha suksha matvat tad avigneyam dhurastham chantike chatat. Translation. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all beings, the moving and the unmoving and the non-moving, because is subtle. He is beyond the power of the material senses to see or know or to know. Although far away, he is also near to all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all, the same thing what we discussed in the previous sloka. The supreme truth exists outside and inside of all the living beings, the moving and the non-moving. His supreme exists in both moving and non-moving because he is subtle, because he is so sensitive, so delicate, and he is beyond the power of material senses. Same thing what was discussed in the previous sloka. To see or to know. Although far away, he is also near to us. The same thing what I told. Like we should not misunderstand that he is everywhere. He is everywhere means he is many. No, he is everywhere means he is not there in Goloka. He is there in Goloka. He is there in Goloka. He is here. And he is in you, he is in me, he is in the dog, he is in the tree, and everywhere. He is there everywhere in the food we take and everywhere. So this is something what we have to be very clear. Next. Yeah, let's go fast. Who is ready? Hare Krishna. Yeah, Harshit, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Avibhaktam cha bhuteshu vibhaktam eva cha sthitam bhuta bhatir bhartir cha te tagyanam grasisnu prabha vishnu cha. Although the Supreme Soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he reverses and develops all. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Although Supreme Soul appears to be divided among all beings, he is never divided. He is situated as one. Although he is the maintainer of every living entity, it is to be understood that he devours and develops all. So we have to be very clear here. Like you have a 100 rupee note, you make it into you make it as a change, and then you start giving 1 rupee, 1 rupee, 1 rupee to everybody. Now where is that 100 rupee? 100? Do you have 100 now? No, you don't have. That means the originality of the 100 is lost. Now it is made into 100 pieces. But Krishna is not like that. He is divided into many, into every material part and into different people. But his origin is not lost. That 100 rupee, what we talked about, remains as 100 rupee, and then everybody gets 1 rupee. That is how Krishna, that is the greatness of Krishna. So he is the maintainer and destroyer. So that is what is important. Here we should understand that just because by entering into everybody, the origin of the Krishna is not lost. He is the supreme, and he remains undivided. That is what it is. Next. What happened to all these boys? Pushkar, have you come back? Okay, Harshit, read. We'll finish off this chapter today.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah. Pushkar, read.
Jyotisam api tad tamasa param uchayate jnanam jnanyam jnanavyam yam vid sarvasya visthitam. Translation: He is the source of light in all luminous objects. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. He is knowledge. He is the object of knowledge and he is the goal of knowledge. He is situated in everyone's heart.
Hare Krishna. So here in 18th sloka, it said, he is the source of light in all illuminating bodies, luminous bodies, objects. This is what we all know. He is beyond the darkness of matter and is unmanifested. That means he has no beginning. He is beyond all the darkness. That means only because of his luminous nature, all his creation is getting the light. Otherwise, it's all dark everywhere. That means nothing exists without him. So he is beyond all that. He is the knowledge. The knowledge comes from him, and he is the knowledge. He is the object of knowledge. That is where the knowledge is coming from. He is the goal of knowledge. What is goal of knowledge means? What is the use of getting this knowledge? By getting this knowledge, we understand the real purpose of our life, and then we can go back to Goloka. That is the goal of his knowledge. He is situated in every heart. We know this, no? He is there in every heart. Okay. So, as he is the goal of knowledge means getting the knowledge about him, one should know about him, and then that is what will relieve us from this birth-death cycle. From this cycle, it will be relieved. Else, we are always here only in this Mrityu Loka, suffering, taking birth, again dying, taking birth, getting diseases, getting old age, and dying, again taking birth. So only way to get out of this is having the knowledge that he is the Supreme Personality. Yeah, next 19. Who will read? Rohan, have you come? Yeah, read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Iti kshetram jnanam. Iti kshetram tata jnanam gneyam choktam samasataha madbhakta etadvignaya madbhavai yopapadyate. Thus, the field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been similarly described by me. Only my devotees can understand this truly and thus attain to my nature. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thus, the field of activities, we learn no kshetram. The field of activities, the body, knowledge, and the knowable have been summarily described by me. That means, till now, he has described about the field of activities, the knowledge, and the knowable. Who is the person? Who is that? What is that? We have to know. Only my devotee can understand this thoroughly and thus attain my nature. So, here, as we already discussed, it said, it's all totally confusing. Krishna is there in Goloka, and again Krishna is here. Krishna is in me, Krishna is in you. And then the original Krishna is full. Krishna is everywhere. There is nothing like Krishna is not there. All this, when somebody, a new person hears, it will be a total confusing thing. And people will think, this is all rubbish, nothing to think. So, so only a devotee can understand this thoroughly, and thus by understanding this, he can attain his nature. That means he can attain Krishna. And also here we have to understand this very carefully, because what we think is that we are the enjoyers here. Why are we here? We think I have done this, and so we enjoy. But we should understand that we are not the enjoyers. And we have also discussed, we are Purusha. The only Purusha is Krishna. Purusha means the enjoyer. It is not the male and female, what in our world we bifurcate. For the material purposes, we call some as Purusha, some as ladies and gents, or Purusha and Stree. But here, what is the reality is, all of us here, including the plants, animals, human beings, whoever it may be, we are all spirit souls, and we are all there only for giving happiness to Krishna. So here, the only Purusha is Krishna, and we are all here to give him happiness. That is what we have to be very clearly. But mentally, we get confused, and we think we are the enjoyers. We are doing all this. Everything happening around us is because of us. And then because of that, we think we are having this Purusha mentality. We become the thing that we are Purusha. So, so next 20. Who is reading? Harshit?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Oh, okay. 1 minute. Trityam Purusham Chaiva Bhide Anadhi Ubhav Prabhi Vikarmas Cha Gumas Gunamascha Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. Translation. Material nature and the living entity should be understood to be beginningless. Their transformations and the modes of matter are products of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, material nature and the living entities should be understood to be beginningless. So we have to be very clear that we are all beginningless. That means there is no beginning for us. We exist along with Krishna always. And so their transformations and the modes of material are products of material nature. So transformations means we take different lives. This time we are human beings. Next time we don't know, based on the karma, whatever we are doing now, we don't know what birth we are going to get. If we really lead a sinless devotional life, we might go back to Krishna. Otherwise, next life, okay, some devotion we do, we must get one more chance as a human being. Or we may take a birth as a dog, as a cat, as a pig, as a bird, as a tree, or whatever life we can get, we will get. So different transformations are happening. So these are all because of the products of material nature. Here, what is happening? The material nature, that means that whatever nature we are adopting now, that gives our next life. So we have to be very careful that the material nature, which nature are we adopting? Are we adopting Sattva Guna, Raja Guna, Tamo Guna? In that, what is that we are doing is something what we have to be very careful, and based on that, we are going to get the next life. We have to be very careful about this. Next, 21. Pushkar? Hare Krishna, Pushkar? Okay, Rohan? Okay, Pushkar, read.
Karya karana karve.
Karya karana kurtutve. Kartutve.
Karya karanya kurtve. Chitu parkritir uchayate. Purusa sukha dukhanam bhoktar hitur uchayate. Translation: Nature is said to be the cause of all materials, causes, and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of the various sufferings and enjoyments in the world.
Very good. Nature is said to be the cause of all material causes and effects, whereas the living entity is the cause of all various sufferings and enjoyments in this world. We think we never realize that whatever enjoyments we are having or sufferings we are having is because of our material nature. We always think that somebody else is the reason. So here we have to be very careful. We have to understand that we are the reason for our sufferings or enjoyment. The moment we reduce our sense gratification, all our physical problems are gone. See, you have to study or go to school to get knowledge, not to come first in the class. You have to definitely come first in the class, which has to be a byproduct of your hard work. See, and if you work for the first class to get first rank, what happens is the moment you don't get the first rank, you lose. But if you work to get the 100% knowledge of your textbook, then what happens is the moment you get 100% knowledge of your textbook, you will automatically get first class, which should be a byproduct. So here we have to be very careful. What for are we working? So that is the guna what we have to develop. So that way, if you start developing, we have to understand that we are the cause for our various sufferings and enjoyment in this world. We think that Prakriti is the cause, but here we have to be very careful that the Jiva, the material nature, whatever we are having, is a cause of all the problems. Okay, so okay, 22. Yeah, who is reading? 22. Rohan. Rohan.
Ma'am, Dikshit madam reading.
Yeah, Dikshit is back. Read.
Hare Krishna Mataji Dandavat Pranam. Purusha Prakriti Stohi Bhumte Prakriti Jangur Gunan Karanam Guna Sangosya Sadasadyone Janmasu. The living entity, translation. The living entity in the material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three modes of nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil among various species. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
The living entity in material nature thus follows the ways of life, enjoying the three material nature. This is due to his association with the material nature. Thus, he meets with good and evil amongst various species. So, whatever we have discussed till now, Krishna is reiterating to make it very, make us understand strongly. The living entity in the material nature, that means we are the living entities in this material nature, thus follows the way of life. The kind of life, what is it we are following? Enjoying the three modes of material nature. The kind of life we are adopting is the whatever mode we want to enjoy is the kind of our life. See, somebody wants to lead a very calm, peaceful life. Like in Sattva Guna, that is what he is going to choose, the kind of life. Somebody very ambitious, one can be very ambitious in devotional side, and some can be very ambitious in materialistic side. So whichever he is choosing, whichever material nature he is choosing, his life will be in that direction. Somebody may be in Tamo Guna who is very lazy and spoiling his life, he will be in that only. This is due to his association with that material life, because that is the association we want with that material life, and we are getting it. Thus, he meets with the good and evil amongst the various species. Suppose we go with the Rajoguna or Tamoguna, we get association with the evil. Suppose we want to go in Tamoguna, we get association with the good. So it all depends on what kind of thoughts we are having, what kind of association we are trying to develop, what is our final goal. And so we think we are enjoying due to all this, but it is the material nature what is guiding us. And also we also think that we are the bosses here, we are owning everything, we are the reason for this. I construct a house and think I am the owner, nobody can spoil anything, I am going, this house is mine forever, permanent. So suppose tomorrow some road widening happens, government can always take it off. I can't say anything. Today mine is gone. Otherwise one big earthquake comes. We don't know where that house is, collapsed total. So anything can happen and it will go off. So we should never think that we are the owners of all this. We should be very clear that we are not the owners. And also we should understand that the thoughts, our enjoyment, it totally depends on what kind of material nature we are choosing. Yeah, 23. Pushkar or Pushkari or Rohan, you'll read.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Upadrasyata tanu manta cha bharata bhokta maheshwara paramatmeti chapi ukto dehesmin purusha para. Translation. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Yet in this body there is another, a transcendental enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists as the overseer and permitter, and who is known as the super soul. We think that we are the owners, we are the enjoyers, we are the proprietors. But here Krishna says you are not that. There is another one in your body. So he is the final enjoyer, who is the Lord, the supreme proprietor, who exists all over, and he permits. See, our soul only desires, saying that I want this, I want this, I want this. But it is Krishna who has to permit us to have that. And Krishna permits, and whenever there is something bad happening, we are doing also, there is a consciousness in us telling, don't do it, it is bad, don't do it, it is bad, but still we do. What is that telling us don't do it, it is bad? It is a consciousness, it is the God in us, inside us, saying that this is bad. But still we want to go ahead. He is the permitter. He will allow us to do it based on our karma. And he is known as the super soul. And here he said there is another transcendental enjoyer. That means he is the overseer. Who is Upadrashta means overseer. And Anumanta means the sanctioner or the permitter. Soul we think is the Purusha. That means we are thinking that we are the enjoyer. But it is the super soul which is the enjoyer. The super soul refuses to act as per the guidelines of the soul refuses to act. That means Krishna is telling her, don't do that, don't do that, get up at 4 o'clock, do chanting. We can never get up. The Tamoguna says, no, tomorrow you can do the chanting, go sleep. It's so nice to sleep. So that way the super soul always guides us, but the soul refuses to do as per the guidance of the super soul and try to be independent. Why are we trying to be independent? Because we are thinking that we are the masters. That is the reason why we are always trying to be independent. Yeah. Harshit? Or Pushkar, who will read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, read.
Ya एयं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न सभ्यो भिजयते. Translation. Translation. Hare Krishna. Translation. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature, the living entity and the interaction of the modes of nature is sure to attain liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. One who understands this philosophy concerning material nature. So if we understand whatever we have discussed in now, the living entity and the interaction of the modes of nature, he is sure to attain liberation. So if we really understand the reason that we are not the enjoyer, we are not the Purusha, there is somebody else. We are only a servant of the servant, and we are here, and our main house is at Goloka, which we have to go back and get it. What happens is we are sure to get the liberation. He will not take birth here again, regardless of his present position. Present position, we can be anything. We can be a human being, we can be a dog, or anything we can be. Or we can be a Brahmana, we can be a Sudra, anything we can be. You need not be. You only have to have the correct understanding. So see, just by having correct understanding, we won't reach Krishna. Here, the inner meaning is when we have the correct understanding, suppose you know the answer, you will definitely write the answer in your exam, no? You cannot write a wrong answer when you know the right answer, if you are sure. If you know the right answer and if you remember the right answer, will you write a wrong answer in the class? You will not write. That way, when we know what is real, what is the truth, we will definitely implement it, and we will not take birth again here, regardless of our present situation. So till now, Krishna has told about the Prakriti and Purusha, understanding and putting it into action. That is what is important. Just by knowing, nothing happens. We have to put it to action, and then we get the liberation. 25. Pushkar, are you there?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, read. Atmani.
Pasyanti Shed Atmanam Atmana Anye Sankheyena Yogena Karma Yogena
Chapare.
Chapare. Translation. Some perceive the super soul within themselves through meditation, others through the cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without creative desires.
Yeah. So some pursue the super soul with themselves through meditation, others through cultivation of knowledge, and still others through working without fruitive desires. Like this, we have been discussing from the beginning. There are different ways of reaching Krishna. See, something that by doing karma yoga, by doing the right things, we might reach Krishna. Something that we have to get the right jnanam. And some do Ashtanga yoga kind of things. And all this we try to do to reach Krishna. But the best way is to do devotional service. That means work towards Krishna without any fruitive desires. That means we should not even work towards Krishna to get liberation. We should think that this is what our duty is. So I'm doing it. Not like in an office, we should not work for a promotion. We should work, we should do our duty correctly. Automatically, the promotion will come. Similarly, even in the while working, while doing devotional service, we should not have any ambition like, let me do this work and then maybe tomorrow I will go back to Krishna. No, that is also not required. Krishna knows whether to give liberation or not. So when we have this full knowledge, we will naturally have faith on Krishna, and then all these desires will go away. And we have to, only thing we have to do is work without any desires towards Krishna. Work towards Krishna. 26. Yeah, Rohan or Dikshit, read. Dikshit? For Rohan.
Dikshit, I am reading Mataji.
Yeah.
Anyetva evam ajananatah srutvanyebhya upasate te pichati taranyatya evam mrityum shruti prayanaha. Translation. Again, there are those who also not converse that in spiritual knowledge, being in worship the supreme person upon hearing him about him from others because of their tendency to hear authorities. They also transcend the path of birth and death. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Again, there are those who, although not conversant in spiritual knowledge, begin to worship the Supreme Person upon hearing about him from others. Because of their tendency to hear from authorities, they also transcend the path of birth and death. This is what is very important. See, we should always not think that only after we get the total knowledge, we are going to get liberated. No. See, how we should start is the beginners should listen to the scholars, authorized sources. Just by hearing and practicing whatever they are doing, one can perfect their life. See, how many can we learn by our own? Rather than that, there are scholars. You can't read all the Vedas, we can't read all Bhagavatam, we can't read all the Bhagavad Gita, but there are scholars. That means we can read small things like Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, but there are scholars who have read it many times, got the real meaning out of it, and then if you just listen from them, they will give the inner meaning of that. And then that is the easiest way One can learn, a beginner can learn, hearing it from a authorized source, not from anybody, not from somebody who just gives a wrong direction. And also the authorized person should be a practicing one. They also, so that way if you do also, we are promised of getting relieved from this birth and death cycle. So now from this is, we have finished the second section, and in the third section, last section, Krishna will tell us about the integration of all these 6 topics and make us understand better. So we'll go to the next one, last thing. We'll go fast. 27. Yeah. Who is reading? Dikshit? No, Harshit?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam statha sthavarajangam mam kshetrajna samyoghat tadvidi bharatar sabha. O chief of the Bharatas, you know, whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only the combination of field of activities and the knower of the field. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So, O chief of Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and non-moving, is only a combination of field of activities and the knower of the field. So, 27. So here we have to understand that all these things might look very complicated, but Krishna is making it very simple, saying that it's just a combination of moving and non-moving. That means the material things, the combination of this moving and non-moving is the only combination of field of activities. That is the field of activities and the knower of the field. Who is the knower of the field? Krishna is the knower of the field. So it is just a combination of Krishna and the material nature. Krishna, because soul is also a part of it. So it's a combination of all this. This is what we have to understand. And here God sanctions. And so it's a combination, means here the most important thing is, we think that this moving and non-moving things are doing something, are acting. But we have to understand that they are all doing it because Krishna is sanctioning it, and hence the material things are able to act. This is what we should never forget, that God is the sanctioner and the material body only acts. It should never feel that I am doing it. That feeling of I am doing it is what all of us should get rid of. 28. Next. Pushkar?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah.
Tamam sarveshu bhuteshu tishtanatam parameswaram vinayasvastavinyastyam yapasyati cha pasyati. Translation. One who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all bodies, and who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the distributed body is ever destroyed, actually
says, one who sees the super soul accompanying the individual soul in all body, and who understand that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body is ever destroyed, actually ceases. That means one who sees the super soul accompanies the unusual soul in all bodies. Here we have to understand that it is the super soul which is accompanying all the souls in the body. That means we know that when the soul enters a body, the life comes. The soul does not come independently. mean like single. It comes along with the super soul with it. And we have to understand that. And who understands that neither the soul nor the super soul within the destructible body, that means this body uh, is uh, is not there. Without those two, is ever destroyed. That means the soul or the super soul which is there in our body is never destroyable, actually ceases. That means it is always, it always exists. And also we have to understand here one more thing. Super soul is equal to all. That means super soul, it is not that Krishna has more love on me and less love on you, or more love on you and less love on me. He has equal love on us, or whether it is a devotee or a non-devotee, he has the same love. That we have to be very clear. Because a non-devotee or a person who does, like there can be a person who is destructing the temples, or who is killing devotees, such kind of a person also, Krishna gives the same treatment. But that man is going to undergo his karma later. But he is also given the same oxygen supply what we are having. He is also given the same water what we are having. Everything, the same sun gives the same races to him and to us. So that way Krishna treats everybody to all. The difference is we stay in a body and also we know nothing about it, and Krishna knows about everything. So Krishna might be giving everything to everybody, but we have to be very clear that just because Krishna is treating all of us in the same way, we cannot get away by doing wrong things. We can never get away by doing wrong things. This life we can get away because of the previous life's karma, good karma. But if you do bad things in this karma, in this destructible body, we have to undergo the negativity in our next life. This we have to be very careful. If not next life, this life itself we might undergo. We don't know. Yeah, next. Rohan, read. Hare Krishna. What happened? Not there. Harshit, read. 5 more slokas. We'll finish up.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Samam pasyam hi sarvatra samassthitam Ishwaram nahinasti atmanatmanam tatovati param gatim. Translation. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, you're having very bad cough. Are you taking medicines?
No, like suddenly it came.
Suddenly, yeah. Okay. After the class, you just drink little warm water. Your throat will get cleared. Okay. One who sees the super soul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade himself by his mind. Thus, he approaches the transcendental destination. See, degrade himself by his mind. How are we degrading ourselves in our mind? Thinking that we are great. That is the greatest. We think that we are very great, and we try to look at others low. But we have to understand that by thinking that we are great, we are degrading ourselves. We are not degrading others. We are in a wrong concept. So one who sees super soul in everywhere, in every living being, does not degrade himself. That means, see, when we know that he is your brother and you are same for your parents, you can't degrade him. You will think both of us are same. Like your parents looks at both of you as the same because they have the same feeling on you. So similarly, when we know that the other living beings are also under the mercy of Krishna, and they are also the children of Krishna, and we are also the same. We can never think we are great, and then we can never look at them in a lower way. Thus, we approach as the transcendental destination. What is the transcendental destination? Reaching Goloka is the transcendental destination. So this is the real vision of a true seeker, truth seeker. If one understands the Paramatma, no false ego will be there, and we will never degrade ourselves thinking that we are great. We are not great. All of us are same. This is what we should always remember. Yeah, 30. Who is ready? Pushkar? Yeah. Prakritim chaiva. Pushkar, read. Chitesh, you have to practice and read at least 2 to 3 slokas every time. Next time, 14th chapter, you practice some more. Pushkar? How many more are there? 34. 4 are there. Okay, Harshit, read. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Prakratyaiva cha karmani karmanani sarvasah
Yeah, correct.
yah pasyati tahatmanam akartaram sapasyati. Translation: one who can see that all activities are performed by the body which is created of material nature, and sees that this does nothing actually cease.
One who can see that all activities are performed by the body, which is created by material nature, and sees that the self does nothing actually cease. That means we should understand that Jiva, this is where we can understand the Jiva and the Prakriti. Soul is not doing any activity, but it is the material body is doing. But it is the soul which is doing, because why is the material body doing? Material body, it is the soul which is desiring to do all this. So it is like a spoon in the curry. Who is cooking? The spoon is not doing anything. It just doesn't get any taste of the curry or anything. It is because of the ingredients that the curry is happening. But the material body is just like a spoon there. So it is the desires of the material of the soul which is making the material body do all this. So that is the reason why the soul is getting all the karma. So one who sees that all activities, so we should never think that my body is doing it, I am doing it. It is because of the desires of the our soul that we are making the body do it. And so we have to be very clear that the Jiva is then doer, as it is desiring for all this. Yeah, Hare Krishna. Next. Pushkar? Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, Pushkar, read. Good.
Okay. Yada bhuta pratambhavam ekastham anupashyati tata eva cha vistaryam brahma samapadyati tada. Translation: when a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman conception. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere, he attains to the Brahman concept. When a sensible man ceases to see different identities due to different material bodies, that means we should not think that I am a human being, I am great. It is just a dog and it is inferior. It is just a something else, it is inferior. It is different bodies, the same spirit soul is taking. Tomorrow we may take the same body, and he sees how beings are expanded everywhere. He should also understand that it is just the beings which is expanded everywhere. He attains to the Brahman concept. Here we have to be very clear that we are all parts and parcels of Krishna, and we are all made of the Panchabhutas, the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then if suppose we are there, two boys of the same height and weight are there, the upper layer of the skin is removed. Can we make out who is who is who? We just can't make out. So it is just a body. It is just a combination of the Panchabhutas. This is what we have to be very clear. Everything comes from the Panchabhutas, and then once we leave the body, again everything goes back to the Panchabhutas. Only on the spiritual plane, the services what we do to Krishna are devotional, and so we have to do spiritual services which will take us back to Goloka. Hence, a realized man, a man who understands all this, sees all life same as the spirit soul and with Paramatma in them, but quality wise different and treated differently. So what we have to do think is that we are all same, we are all the spirit souls, and we are all expansions of Krishna. And but quantity wise we are all same, quality wise we are different, treated differently, maybe because of our previous karma. Yeah. Harshit, yeah, last three. Finish the fast. 3.2. 32. Hare Krishna. Harshit, are you there? Pushkar?
Yes, Mataji.
Read.
Anaditvan nirgunatvat paramamatmayam anyavya sariratstopi kaunteya na karoti na lipyati. Translation. Those with the vision of eternity can see that the
Imperishable.
imperishable soul is transcendental, infinite, and beyond the modes of nature, despite contact with the material body. O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is
Entangled.
entangled.
Those with the vision of eternity can see that the imperishable soul is transcendental, eternal, and beyond the three modes of material nature. Okay, despite contact with the material body, O Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So somebody with the vision of eternity, that means with the vision of eternal, means with the vision of Krishna consciousness, can see that the imperishable soul, the soul which is always imperishable, is transcendental. Which is transcendental means something which belongs to the spiritual world, not to this material world. Eternal means not something connected to this material world, and beyond the three modes of material nature. Only when we are in this material world, we get attached to these three modes of material nature, or because we got attached to them, we came here. So when we understand the real truth, we are not attached to the three modes of material nature, despite contact with the material body. So even though, because we are in this material world, we are in contact with the material body, but we don't get attached to it, because we know the truth. Oh Arjuna, the soul neither does anything nor is entangled. So with that mood, The soul doesn't do anything, nor is attached to anything. So, so here if we have to understand that the soul never merges with the material matter. Soul is actually, it is not the soul which is suffering. It is like this. The moon, you see the moon's reflection in the water. When the water moves, we think that the moon is moving, but the moon is not moving. The moon is not shaking. It is the water which is shaking. But we feel the moon is shaking because it is the reflection. So the soul suffers its identity with the material body. Else, no suffering is there, no misidentification. Only when the soul attaches itself with the material body, it suffers. The moment you get detached with the material body, okay, I had a serious health problem. Okay, it is the body which is having the health problem. It's okay. It will get cured, or I leave the body. That kind of a concept we have, nothing, no suffering. So it is, to give more example, suppose we are sleeping. I am in a deep sleep and I get a dream that somebody has come and cut off my head and my body is suffering. And then what happens in the sleep? I struggle, I get fear, I get sweat, and I really suffer my death. I really feel the pain of getting my neck cut. I really undergo that. I 100% undergo that. And immediately the shock, I get up. And after I get up, the moment I get up, for a minute I'll have that tension, but once I realize that nothing happened, the pain goes off. Why? Because that is not true. Similarly, the body suffering is something different from the soul suffering. So it is like in a dream, a body is getting cut. Similarly, also the body and soul are different. The body suffering is no way connected to the soul. Only the soul, when it gets attached to the body, it suffers. So, and one more good example, what we think is, what is always given is, one man has a house, beautiful house. So suddenly somebody told him that the house is on fire, and then he runs to the house. And the house is full on fire. So he starts crying and yelling, "Hey, my house, my house, my house." Then his son commented, and father, don't worry. Yesterday I have applied for insurance. The insurance is there. So if we lose the house also, we'll get money. Then this man is happy. So no more the attachment, because he knows that he's not going to lose anything. And then the second son comes running and says, no, brother gave me the check, I forgot to send the check is again with me only. Again the suffering starts. So why is the suffering going off and coming? Because of the attachment. So that we have to be very careful. The moment we reduce our attachments, nothing will happen to us. There is no suffering. So we have to be detached. And at the moment we get detached, we have no worry that the next house boy is having a very big party in a 5-star hotel, and our mother is just doing a Hare Rama Sankirtana in the house on our birthday. That fellow might have it there and we might have it here. So we know the beauty of it. The moment we lose this attachment, what happens is we will start enjoying this. That fellow might wear a 3-piece suit for his birthday, and we might wear a simple cotton knicker and shirt. But we know that this is what is enough to cover the body. So that kind of a detachment should be there. Okay, so like this, another example what is given is, suppose there is a gold ring. Suppose we are as pure as a gold and we are unattached. So the gold ring by mistake falls in a garbage or in a drainage canal. Somehow we pull it out and wash it. What happened to the gold ring? Nothing happened. The gold remained as gold. Before falling, however, the gold ring was. Even now, the gold ring is like that only because of its purity. Nothing happened to it. The same thing happened to something else, a cloth or something which absorbs the dust or the impurities of that drainage, something, a football, a cloth, or anything it can be, which absorbs the dust. If you put it inside, we take it out, and however we clean, can we eat that food? We cannot eat. because it has absorbed the dirt in it. Can we wear that shirt again? We cannot, because the stinking, the smell won't go. So that way we have to keep our soul clean and unattached to all these material enjoyments. We have to be like a gold ring and not like a food material which can absorb everything. 33. Last but one. Who will read? Pushkar is reading or Harshit? One of you read. Then next one read the next one. We'll close. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Ah,
Mataji.
yeah, Jitesh read.
Yata sarva katham susyamyad akasam
Dakasam, Soksha Dakasam.
akasam palya
No
yata
Palshite.
sarvatra vastito dehe tatatma no palipyate. Hare Krishna. Translation: the sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body through stated in that body. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The sky, due to its subtle nature, does not mix with anything, although it is all pervading. Similarly, the soul situated in Brahman vision does not mix with the body, though situated in the body. Like you take the air goes into everything and comes back. So, but the purity of the air remains like that only. Similarly, and we discussed example of the gold ring just now. What is happening to the purity of the gold ring? Nothing is happening. Similarly, if the soul is attached to if the soul is situated in the consciousness of Krishna or Brahman consciousness, nothing will happen to the soul. It will not get attached with modes of material nature, and it will be pure and always very always in the right direction. Next, yeah, Harshit, read 34.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Yata prasakshati ekaha kritsyanam lokam imam rave kshetram kshetri tata kritsam prakasyati bharata. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity one within the body illuminate the entire body by consciousness. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. O son of Bharata, as the sun alone illuminates all this universe, so does the living entity, one within the body, illuminate the entire body by consciousness. This is very clear. How is our body conscious like this? Because the soul is there in the body. The moment soul is not there, our body is no more conscious. It's dead. Whatever you do with the body, you beat it, you burn it, whatever you do, the body has no this thing. That way, how the sun is illuminating this universe, similarly, the soul is illuminating the body. So it is the soul which is the reason for all this illumination. Yeah. Next one. So finish off last 35. Yeah, read. Kshetra, Kshetrajna. Harshit, finish off. Harshit.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Kshetra kshetrajnyor evam antaram jnana chakshusha bhuta prakriti moksham cha evidhayati te param. Translation: those who see with the eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and also understand the process of liberation from bondage and material nature, attain the supreme goal. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are coming to the conclusion. So here he says, those who see with eyes of knowledge the difference between the body and the knower of the body, and can also understand the process of liberation from bondage in material nature, attain to the supreme goal. So we have to see with the eyes of the knowledge. Eyes of the knowledge means anything we look at, it all depends on eyes. Means it's not the physical eyes. The concept with which we are looking at it is what is important. That gives the difference between the body and the knower of the body. That means the soul and the body, or the supreme soul and the body. So here in the conclusion, some say it is the body and soul are same. That means their drushti, looking at with the eyes means the drushti with which they look at is, they think that the body and soul are same. And some say that the soul and super soul are same. They say there's only the soul and super soul are there, two are not there. We know that the soul is a part of the super soul, but they are different. So some say that the soul itself, that means the body, myself is itself a God, and you are also a God, I am also a God, we are all gods. So this way, everybody has got their own concept. So it all depends on how we look at it. And based on how we look at it, we get the liberation from the bondage in material nature and attain the supreme soul. Hare Krishna. We are ending this chapter here. Thank you. Stopping.